per entry speaker. So after the 6 written comments, we have 9 individuals that registered by the noon deadline today asking to speak. And so each of those 9 will have 5 minutes to speak. So I'll read the first letter. Any other
Randy,
comments,
if somebody else that didn't sign up wants to speak after the 9, or after the 9, that'll be allowable.
Okay, so the chair, Mary Mulwiney, will recognize you after the first 9 are given their chance to speak. Okay, so the first letter is, as a Rock County citizen, I am appalled by the actions of Josh Smith and his vaccine mandate for workers at Rock Haven. There have been so many false statements made by Josh and Sarah Barron regarding the number of staff that have quit, laid off, and retired. To force someone to take the vaccine is illegal, and for that reason, I am demanding Sarah and Josh's resignation or termination for their incompetence and unprofessional conduct. Jim Knorr from Beloit. To whom it may concern, I have worked for Rock Haven through 3 administrators and now an interim administrator. Rock Haven has had issues in the past, but it has never been this bad. The staff morale is worse than I have ever seen it. Employees are sad and they are tired. They do not have support from upper management, and they watch as management is not being held accountable. A lot of employees are watching these meetings and sitting back feeling helpless as Sarah sits there and lies. She is lying to the board members, the residents' families, and the community. She recently told a family member that only a couple of people had been called off for side effects after the vaccination. This is not true. This is just so sad to watch. Rock Haven employees are begging for help, and once again, nobody is listening. They are working tirelessly to take care of the residents here. Management is not. Management is sitting in their offices, with the exception of February 3rd, 2021, when Renee and Sarah helped out on the floor for an hour. Listening to the health services meeting today and listening to the board members, one in particularly accusing the employees of lying, means he did research and everyone but Sarah was lying. This board member is delusional. Sarah was hired as a director of nursing, not as an administrator. She doesn't have the experience for this job, and she is not doing a great job due to a lack of experience. There are 2 sides to every story. You have to listen to both, not just Sarah's. Employees are treated poorly, unfairly, overworked. Ask the staff who have been mandated since February 2nd. Sarah was accurate when she said that all shifts were covered. They were covered mostly by mandated staff. Rock Haven is no longer a great place to work, and many of us are actively looking for other jobs. So good luck with the staffing in the months to come. That was anonymous. Next one is, hello, my name is Michelle Kelm, and I am Rock Haven's scheduler. I'm writing to clarify some things on staffing. After listening to the health services meeting, the last couple board meetings, and reading the paper, I would like to clarify that no, staffing is not okay, and no, I've never stated staffing would be fine or is fine with this mandate. When it was said that we have so many agency CNAs that Sarah and I couldn't keep them straight, that was not correct either. I have no problem keeping track of 4 agency CNAs. All the work that goes with having agency in our building is very time consuming. Working with 4 different agencies and having people try to help when really they don't know what they're doing, that is the problem with keeping agency straight, not that there's so many wanting to work for us. Staffing at Rock Haven since this mandate is a complete mess. When I heard Sarah say at the last board meeting, the schedule will be fine because we had agency lined up to fill the vacancy, my mouth dropped. So far, we have a total of 4 agency CNAs helping us to fill the 42 CNA positions and 4 agency nurses to fill our 9 open nurse positions. We had 76 call-ins, in parentheses, 44 nursing, in parentheses, and 11 mandations in the last 7 days. I personally counted all these numbers this morning to make sure they were correct. We haven't seen that high of numbers in years. I feel like the people speaking on Rock Haven's behalf regarding scheduling is severely sugarcoating the situation to make it seem like we don't have a problem, and that is one of the biggest reasons staff are so upset other than the mandate is all the exaggeration of how everything is running so smoothly. What sense does it make to have our staff laid off at home collecting unemployment when all they really want to do is come back to work? Instead of paying agency staff over 3 times what our staff is making and paying all this overtime and burning out our regular staff to cover these vacant spots, has anyone looked into these numbers? Was this even thought about when making this mandate decision? I know multiple staff that are currently looking for other jobs because of the way management has been treating them. I've also heard, in parentheses, which is just hearsay, in parentheses, that there is some staff that will not be taking the last vaccine in March because of all the side effects others have had. This is just going to create more layoffs. It was said that we have staff that are cross-trained from activities and environmental services, which is true, but that all means is that when they are pulled as CNAs, the residents aren't getting to do activities and things are not being stocked, cleaned, and COVID sanitized. We all need to come together as a team and figure out how to make this right, because what we're doing right now is definitely not working. Rock Haven is the home to 90 residents, and those residents deserve the best care, but currently are only getting the minimal due to the nursing shortage. Thank you for your time, Michelle Kelm, Nursing Staff Coordinator. The next comment, written comment, I would like to remain anonymous. I would like to share my view of what is going on at Rock Haven at this time. First of all, since the mandation of this vaccine, there has been some exemptions made for staff to not get this vaccine, which has been a blessing for me, but for some that are older feel that they have been discriminated against. I still feel very strongly that this vaccine needs to remain a personal decision, especially since this vaccine does not prevent the spread. Also, we need to look at our management and how this place is running. How we treat our coworkers and employees is huge in job satisfaction and in keeping a strong team to work for our elders. Right now, we as a team feel our manager, mainly Sarah Baron and Renee, are not doing a good job in working as a team. Sarah has been jumping on the floor to help or offer guidance to us during this very trying and stressful time. Sarah has not been jumping on the floor to help or offer guidance to us during this very trying and stressful time. Renee has lashed out at staff and has also wrote me up for a poor performance, which I feel very strongly was in retaliation. I personally was given a poor performance for insubordination, not wearing proper PPE, and not following protocol when I was told directly from a superior I did not need to wear N95 mask due to not coming in contact with any positive residents. Then a policy was placed days before my shift stating that all staff to wear N95 masks. I was unaware of this policy change, and not one person educated me on this change, nor did the one person tell me I needed to wear N95. I proceeded on my duties following what I was told, and then was pulled aside, being told that I had been written up for poor performance. How is this situation displaying good leadership or management skills? Did anyone ask me directly to wear the mask? No. Did anyone educate me on this policy change? No. I instead was told that I should be reading every piece of paper that is displayed in this building and retain it so that I can do my job properly. I feel this is a failure from out management. If you walk our units, there is paper displayed everywhere and is very overwhelming. And during this time, I did miss that memo because it was not displayed properly or educated the staff properly. If I were to know this, I would have definitely followed protocol, as I do and feel that I am very responsible, having great pride in my work and follow policy and procedures. I am very hurt by this poor performance and asked for it to be removed, and I was told no by Renee. How are these actions looked as a good director of nursing or interim administrator? Thank you.
Madam Chair, would you ask the person that's typing to please mute their device?
Thank you, Russ.
My name is Michelle Lynch, and have worked in Rock Haven for almost 26 years. I've been through many administrators and many changes. I was here when we downsized from 354 residents to now the 128. Employees have had to bump other employees out of positions due to the downsizing. I understand that policy and procedures are needed and to be followed. I would also like to be the case for everyone here and not just certain staff. Some examples are the infection control nurse to follow her own policies and wear her shield when appropriate and not be exempt from her own policy. The medical director to be held accountable to the same standards as all the employees here. I have witnessed numerous occasions of him holding his shield or putting it down or on the counter, but nothing is said to him by Sarah Barron or Renee Thompson. Sarah Barron continues to state that the vaccine is for resident safety, but how come the two most important people that also agree with her do not have to follow this policy of PPE? I am told that my office worker and I can't eat at the same time due to being 12 feet away. But Sarah Baran and Renee Thompson, Maddie Wigger, and Kim Ball can order pizza or Mexican and sit in Renee's office around a small table and all eat together. During this pandemic, emails go out all the time about not using anyone's office and make sure you are sanitizing surfaces. Again, this do as they say, not as they do, as both the infection control nurse and Sarah sat at my desk for a couple of hours and didn't wipe anything down. But when I am upset about it, I am told to choose my battles. Sarah called me one day to ask me about something. When I tried to explain that I had nothing to do with it, her response was, I am not going to argue with you. Your name gets dropped a lot. After the rude conversation, she did find out it was one of her assistant director of nurses that said something and not me. Never an apology for the rudeness. When I told Renee Thompson about a concern, she had said, I don't know who to answer that. I said, anyone else gets written up, but I can talk to someone else about it. She slammed the phone receiver down on me and hung up. These are only a few examples of the last 10 months of hell. Michelle Lynch. Next one, to county board members of Rock County. My name is Tracy Ramsey. I am writing to voice my concerns regarding the unprofessional, unethical, and truly alarming behavior displayed by the interim nursing home administrator, Sarah Baran. The sixth provision of the American Nursing Association Code of Ethics states, the nurse, through individual and collective effort, establishes, maintains, and improves the ethical environment of the work setting and conditions of employment that are conducive to safe, quality health care. This provision is not being followed by Rock Haven's current interim nursing home administrator, Sarah Baran, as evidenced by the following. September 5, 2020, former nurse practitioner Angela Bisson and Dr. West, medical director, were placed on administrative leave with no explanation. September 8th through the 20th, Hal Ramsey, medical director, had been taking call for Rock Haven for approximately 20 years. He was not notified by Rock Haven administration of above action, placing him in a precarious position. Dr. Ramsey fielded resident calls as per policy. From the time Ms. Besaw and Dr. Rest were escorted out of the building, September 5 to 5 p.m. September 18, who was taking medical calls for the resident needs. Neither the interim nursing home administrator or county administrator contacted Dr. Ramsey, informing him that his services were no longer needed. Former nurse practitioner Angela Besaw was cleared of any violation. Subsequent treatment of Ms. Besaw by Sarah Baran and Taya Waugh constituted an example of workplace bullying. Lateral violence, LV, is a devastating phenomenon in the nursing workplace, also known as horizontal violence or workplace bullying. LV is disruptive and inappropriate behavior demonstrated in the workplace by one employee to another who is in either an equal or lesser position. Why was Ms. Besaw not allowed into Rock Haven after being cleared of any violation? November 10, 2020, the board votes to keep the nurse practitioner position, yet the residents of Rock Haven were still denied access to Angela Besaw. If Rock Haven was truly moving in a different direction, then why not inform the nurse practitioner and medical director their contracts would not be renewed? This would have been the professional choice to make. I've watched 2 Zoom meetings and find it appalling. Questions are not answered in a clear, concise manner, but instead circumvented. I am in disbelief Josh Smith often remains mute during these meetings. I question why someone is not fully investigating the reason behind the resignations of staff. Is human resources conducting exit interviews? This problem stems long before the mandated vaccination debate. As a nurse educator, I challenge my students to use their voice and advocate for patients and their colleagues. I ask board members to truly listen, question, and reflect, and take appropriate action to end workplace bullying violence at Rock Haven. Sincerely, Tracy Ramsey, RN, MSN. And that was the last of the written comments.
Thank you, Randy. Okay, we'll start with in-person comments. Were you going to call names?
Sure. The first person who has submitted the comment or wanting to wish to speak, Antoinette Cavett.
Hi, my name is Antoinette Cavett, and I am a CNA who got laid off for the first time after almost 20 years as an employee at Rock Haven. This mandate has affected our residents tremendously. They are not getting the adequate care, that they need due to lack of staff. They are seeing new faces that they have never seen before. This mandatory vaccine has caused them to lose people who has been taking care of them for years, people who are like family and people that they trust. When I walked around to say my goodbyes, you should have seen the tears and all the hugs I received from residents who did not want me to leave, but I couldn't file the exemptions like some other employees who still get to work and care for them without taking the vaccine. I just wanted to return to work, to do the job that I love and miss and has held for almost 20 years. I want to help my coworkers who are working countless hours to care for our residents. We are family, and family should not be torn apart. Thank you, Antoinette.
Thank you, Antoinette.
You're welcome.
The next person who registered is Elizabeth Snowdy.
Hi. Dear board members, my name is Elizabeth Snowdy. Up until recently, I was laid off due to the mandated vaccine. I've been employed by Rock Haven for the past 5 years. The COVID-19 vaccine needs to be a choice. On January 24th, 2021, I had to work one of the hardest units at Rock Haven by myself. This was not fair to the residents. When there is only one staff member on a unit, it is almost impossible to have adequate time to provide anything above basic care needs as described in our COVID staffing plan dated 6/8/2020. According to the memo dated 6/8/2020, basic care needs for residents during COVID pandemic, nursing assistants will provide at minimum basic care needs for residents, including assisting being washed up with a wash rig, assist with dressing, and provide meals/fluids. The increased demand for mandatory overtime to cover vaccines and added workload will lead to staff burnout. The staff that was laid off should be brought back and be back paid for their loss. I feel that the ones who took the shot should also be given something more than 2 points for the health insurance. And that I would like to see Sarah and Josh resign from their position. The mandate and recently layoffs, including the staffing plan, is not the best interest for the residents. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
You're welcome.
The next person is Ashley Kabor.
Hi, my name's Ashley Caver. The issues affecting Rock Haven are serious and caused by ineffective leadership. Rock Haven is not run by a leader, but rather an individual with her own personal agenda. The numerous lies that have been told by leadership recently have made it extremely difficult for staff to trust and respect the individual in place. This individual is disrespectful to staff. She humiliates and belittles staff, and she retaliates when staff don't agree with her. The leadership has a mentality of being superior, and the rank and file staff don't matter. Staff morale could not be lower. The staff that remain at Rock Haven after the COVID vaccine mandate are overworked and underappreciated. Staff do not feel as if we are being efficient or accomplishing anything. We are just existing. There is little to no support from leadership as they try to avoid the reality of the situation and continue to play it off as if everything is great and running smoothly. However, I do not hold the blame solely on the current Rock Haven leadership. I believe fault also lies with those higher up. Bad behavior and poor leadership were allowed, so bad behavior and poor leadership continues. At Rock Haven, we currently have an employee who has 80 absences who is still employed with the county. This issue has been brought to the attention of those individuals that hold higher positions, and there are no consequences brought forth. Does the same standard apply to all Rockhaven and all county employees? Any Rockhaven or county employee who has or is receiving disciplinary action for attendance could claim that they are being discriminated against because they are not being given the same free pass to continue missing days of work free of consequence. Rockhaven leadership made the decision to mandate the COVID vaccine, which resulted in the loss of 28 staff members. This has resulted in increased workloads, quality of care to be decreased, family and residents have voiced their concerns over staffing issues, and staff feel as though they do not matter. We are all unessential. This was a decision that was supported by those above the Rockhaven leadership. Rockhaven is having to utilize agency staff to fill the staffing gaps due to the vacancies left after the COVID vaccine mandate. This is an extremely costly fix to the staffing issue. Rockhaven's census is significantly lower than it has been in previous years. The total billable days for January of 2020 was 3,608. For January of 2021, only 2,862. So Rockhaven is bringing in less money, and now we're having to pay for these agency staff because the staffing shortage caused by the COVID vaccine mandate. Again, a decision that was made by Rockhaven leadership, but that was allowed by those in a higher position. Staff also feel as though they are not represented when it comes to the Health Services Committee meetings, the county board meetings, etc. Rockhaven leadership is allowed to be present. The county administrator is allowed to be present. The HR representative is allowed to be present, but a representative for the staff is not allowed to be present. Staff fear retaliation when speaking at these committee meetings, and therefore their voices and concerns are not heard. At the last county board meeting, there were numerous false statements made that could have been corrected had a staff representative been present. Staff want to come to work and be able to do their jobs. We want a leader that actually leads. Staff want to feel as though the work that they do matters. We want those that deserve to be held accountable to actually be held accountable. We want poor decisions made regarding the COVID vaccine to be reversed and staff to return to the positions they previously held. We want Rockhaven to be a productive and enjoyable place to work. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley.
The next person is Carla Buchanan.
Good evening. My name is Carla Buchanan, 7304 East County Road, Janesville. I'm the president of AFSCME Local 2489. Rock County's upper level administration team and Rockhaven's administration continue to violate Personnel Policy 1.03 core values: honesty, integrity, respect. Wasn't anything learned from Rockhaven's 2019 wrongful termination hearing? Where was and is the accountability? Why are bullying, intimidation, and threats from management allowed to continue as the norm where Rockhaven is concerned? Since much of Rockhaven's administration has changed since June 2019 hearing, why are we revisiting similar circumstances 2 years later? The time has come for the Rock County Board to look at what hasn't changed, what has remained consistent since 2019. The Rock County Board must dig deeper without holding those responsible for the continued use of heavy-handed and abusive tactics. Rock County cannot move forward with a strong and inclusive culture. Rock County is violating federal law. States and municipalities cannot mandate emergency use products such as the Pfizer and Moderna COVID vaccines. Since those vaccines are emergency use products and not fully licensed, the law is crystal clear. States and municipalities may not mandate the vaccines, and doing so is a violation of federal law. The FDA has issued both as EUA but not full vaccine licenses. Emergency use authorization means that any product with this designation must be voluntary. Under the Constitution's Supremacy Clause, the federal EUA law supersedes any state and municipal orders and also provides that states and municipalities may not mandate EUA products. Under an emergency use authorization, vaccines are not allowed to be mandatory. At this time, individuals and employees must consent to the vaccines and they shall not be mandated. Furthermore, states and municipalities cannot override a federal law or implement their own mandatory requirements. There is no law stating that a person may be fired from their employment, disciplined, or otherwise discriminated against for refusal of the COVID vaccine. On January 28th, Rock County's administration, Court Counsel, HR, and Rock Haven's administration misled the Rock County Board of Supervisors into believing the county-imposed mandate was legitimate and used incredibly poor judgment by mandating COVID vaccines for all Rock Haven employees. Rock Haven and Haven's employees were bullied with threats of discipline through layoffs. If they did not comply with receiving the COVID vaccine, they would be laid off. Many Rock Haven employees did not choose to vaccinate due to safety concerns of non-licensed vaccines and because of personal beliefs. But as a result, they have been disciplined through layoffs. How tragic these circumstances come during such uncertain times of the COVID-19 pandemic. Remember, this ongoing turmoil in Rock Haven has been funded by the taxpayers' dime. Bob Buchanan, president of Local 1077, and Tony Ray, president of Local 1258, share these views. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Carla.
The next person is John Hannawall.
Am I unmuted?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. My name is John Hannawall. I reside at 2829 Regent Street in Janesville, Wisconsin. I was the director of the Developmental Disabilities Board and retired from the county in December 2016 when the DD board was dissolved. During my 29 years with the county, I worked 6 of them in the old Rock Haven, so I know a little bit about how nursing homes work. Tonight, however, I'm speaking as a family member whose mother has been a resident at Rock Haven for almost 3 years. I am her POA and I represent myself and my 5 siblings. I understand this is not a debate or forum on the vaccine mandate. In April, my mother contracted COVID-19 and miraculously at the age of 85 survived. COVID-19 has thrown Rock Haven, like everything else, into a flux. Numerous changes to the daily operation have occurred. We've gone from daily face-to-face visits with her in her room to no visits, to window visits, to compassionate visits, to door visits. Since my mother's admission, the staff at Rock Haven have done a wonderful job. And while frustrated at times over the limitations, we couldn't be more pleased with what Rock Haven's administration and staff have put into place to keep her safe. I receive weekly letters on the current status of COVID amongst residents and staff. Communication has been excellent. While my family would like to see everyone vaccinated, we support the individual's right to refuse without having to provide any religious, health, or other reasons. However, we are concerned with continuity of care. This new policy cost my mother, the social worker, who has been diligently working with her and our family since her admission. This dedicated employee had been at Rock Haven since I left the position in 2009. I know because she took my place when I moved to a new position in the county. She's only one of 24 employees, at least that was my last number that I heard, who've left positions or have been laid off over this policy. This creates problems with continuity of care, which I've already mentioned. It's also created and added to the recent upheaval. But this upheaval at Rockhaven is not a new phenomenon. Having worked in the healthcare center inpatient unit since going back to 1987, experiencing the downsizing of the healthcare center in Rockhaven in the late 90s, the closure of the healthcare center in 2005, and the move to the new Rockhaven, I can state there's always been a degree of upheaval. However, stress and change bring that, and it's always been weathered by staff, administration, and the county. I'm not exactly sure what this ad hoc committee meeting tonight is hoping to learn through this meeting, but as a consumer for my mother, my family can state with 100% confidence that we are nothing but pleased with the services that our mother receives at Rockhaven. We commend the excellent staff, truly healthcare heroes, for the daily care they provide to her, the Rockhaven administration, past and present. There have been 3 administrators since she's been there, for doing an excellent job dealing with the COVID-19 crisis and keeping staff and residents safe. We're grateful to Rock County, Josh Smith and his administration, the Board of Supervisors for continuing to operate our county nursing home so someone like my mother has a place to be cared for. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Andy, you want to call the next one, please?
Okay, the next one is Delina Johnson.
No.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. I'll just start before I read the letter that I submitted, and just start by telling you a little bit about who I am. I began my career at Rockhaven in 1998 as a certified nursing assistant in the healthcare center. I obtained my registered nursing degree in 2002 and took a position as a staff nurse on the intermediate care facility for the mentally retarded in the healthcare center. When that unit was dissolved, I moved over to the old Rockhaven building on Rockhaven first floor, and then subsequently ended up on Limestone East in our new building. Before I read my letter, I wanted to make a comment to what Yuri had said in the beginning of the meeting, that this mandated vaccine would not be rescinded. I want you all to think about this, okay? And I'm in a place where I can give you my educated opinion. I obtained my master's degree in nursing. I'm working on my PhD in nursing education. And the core root of this problem and the reason that you're seeing so much uproar from our staff is because they were not educated on or given any information whatsoever until weeks after we were even vaccinated. That's a huge problem. And the staff deserve to be informed and aware of their vaccination options. And I truly honestly believe that if they would have been able to get that information, and I'll admit I was resistant to get my vaccination because I didn't know enough about it. And my first vaccination, I was given under duress. However, I'm an intelligent person. I researched, I learned about it. And I went ahead and I got my second vaccination. And just like when we began with the flu shot, a lot of people were resistant to getting that. And if you look at our trends of the information for our flu vaccination compliance, you'll see over the years, the staff nurses continue to educate our peers and administer those flu shots. Every single year, our compliance ratings increased. And we have an excellent compliance rating with our flu shot. And if we had taken a different approach by educating our staff, not mandating the vaccination, but allowing them the opportunity to learn over time. When you take a new class or you're learning something new, you don't learn that entirely within a brief moment or one class. You learn that information over a period of time. And they weren't given that opportunity. I wasn't given that opportunity. I had to do that on my own. So the retrospective education that's being provided now, and for weeks we were asking questions about it. We wanted to know, what's in it? What do you know about it? Because we didn't know. And the answer that we got from Sarah Barron was a referral to the CDC website, and that's not nursing leadership. So I'll go ahead and read my letter that I submitted, and then I'd be willing to answer any questions that anyone has afterwards. My name is Delana Johnson, and I'm a registered nurse at Rock Haven. Under Sarah Barron's dictator-type leadership style, we have had many challenges arise that have now resulted in staff's loss of trust in her. Sarah continues to mislead and lie to the county board, our community, and Rock Haven families regarding the staffing issues at Rock Haven. Nurses are trusted caregivers, and although we are all humans and we make mistakes, Sarah has not demonstrated any accountability and has not offered any apologies or solutions to the situation she has created. Sarah disregarded the county board's input and made the decision to mandate this vaccination in haste. This has led to our collaborative and collective request for her resignation and/or termination. In addition, the employees of Rock Haven collectively request removal of the COVID-19 vaccination mandate. By removing this mandate, the majority, if not all, of the laid off staff are willing to return to work, and I'm certain you will see this pending class action lawsuit that violates our constitutional and human rights abruptly go away. The employees of Rock Haven care deeply for our residents that we serve, and we take all necessary precautions, including social distancing outside of work and wearing the recommended PPE that continue to protect our residents. Some staff working up to 16 hours per day in PPE. The larger amount of adverse effects seen with the COVID-19 vaccination present with or after the second injection. Johnson & Johnson are in the process of releasing a single-dose COVID vaccination that will undoubtedly produce less side effects, minimize employee concerns, and enhance vaccination compliance at Rock Haven. So I respectfully thank you for your time and ask that you remove the vaccine mandate, allow staff to come to their trusted floor nurses just as they do for their flu shots, which we have great compliance rating with. Please allow the staff to take the time needed to gain the knowledge about the vaccination options and provide the floor nurses with the tools to educate our staff. They trust us and do not trust Sarah Barron nor her demands. Sarah Barron's backpedaling has been harmful to our environmental milieu, and I'm personally disappointed in her lack of nursing leadership. Sarah Barron failed to provide adequate education on the vaccine to staff before we were vaccinated under duress on January 5th of 2021. I personally found out that I was going to be vaccinated on the 5th of January when I received her memo in my mailbox on December 31st. Mind you, that was at 10 p.m. on December 31st. I was not provided an opportunity or the necessary time to consult with my doctor. In addition, I had to research for myself and educate myself about the vaccination. I have now received both doses of the Moderna vaccine. Sarah Barron's decisions and approach regarding this vaccination have been detrimental to employees and the residents of Rock Haven. Sarah has done enough damage to our organization's public image, directly inhibited our abilities to assure safe and effective care for our patients, and now the Rock Haven employees would like to move forward without Sarah Barron. Please remove the mandate and request her resignation immediately. We appreciate the county board's input and request that in the future, all types of decisions of this magnitude involve staff and the county boards before implementation. One person should not be allowed to make this decision alone when it affects all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Delina. Randy, I think you forgot Amber.
I called Amber DeJanes and no one, that was the person who didn't respond.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, so the last person I have is Gail.
No, I'm here, but I never got called on.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Amber D. James, although some of you may not know my name or know me. My residents certainly do. They know that I have worked at Rock Haven for the past 4 years. They know, as do my colleagues, that I love them and love working with them. I have worked in healthcare for 16 years, and from the moment I started at Rock Haven, I was confident that I had found my forever job that I would retire from. I have a special connection with so many people here, and it has become another home to me. On Monday, December 28th, I happily came into work from having been off for the holidays. I received a letter that immediately made my heart drop. My employer was going to mandate me to take an experimental vaccine. I was instantly crushed because I knew that I would possibly lose my forever job and my residence. On January 28th, the board voted to allow certain exceptions from the vaccine. This was not a win. This did not help me or any of my colleagues in a similar situation. This does not answer the question of why it is acceptable for my employer to make my medical choices, why it is acceptable for my employer, who I have been loyal to coerce me by holding my job over my head to get injected with a medical product. Those who are able to get an exception are permitted to continue to work, as they should be. However, I should also be permitted to continue to work. This vaccine is not proven to stop the infection of COVID-19. This vaccine is not proven to stop transmission of COVID-19. Therefore, Rock Haven's supposed motive is to keep the residents safe is an illusion. If I were to receive SARS-CoV-2, it will not stop me from contracting COVID-19, nor will it keep me from transmitting it. This vaccine only affects my health. The day after Rock Haven had 27 employees laid off for refusing the vaccine on February 2nd, Rock Haven had 32 employees call in due to adverse reactions from the vaccine. Staffing was so dismal that supervisors and Sarah had to work the floor themselves. However, Sarah had made false statements to the press claiming there was no staffing issues. Is that someone that you truly want to run Rock Haven? I sincerely ask that you recognize my loyalty to my job, my rights and my individual to liberty, my privacy, my informed consent, among others, and that you overturn this barbarous mandate so that my coworkers and I can get back home to our residents that we love and want to continue to care for. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Amber.
I don't remember them calling me. So the next person I have registered is Gail Sullivan.
Excuse me, before Gail starts, if you're not muted, would you please mute your phone or your iPad? Thank you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. What I wanted to talk about was the issue with Angie Besaw and Dr. West too. I think there was a nurse who was a malcontent and she had it out for Dr. West, and Angie somehow got caught up in this. If you knew Angie, she's the highest caliber person you could ever meet. She had a spotless record and she was good at her job. She is good at her job. And she was never given a reason why she couldn't even enter the building, even though she was on call. My feeling is the other administrator had an agenda. Even now, they're not letting certain drugs be given to residents because it affects their Casper numbers. And even the admissions coordinator, Maddie Wigger, we had a meeting about GDRs, gradual dose reductions. And she says, oh, I guess we could cut that out. And she has no medical background. And I said, why would you do that? And she said, because of our Casper numbers. When we allow people to look at figures, and that's how we're going to run a nursing home, let's not give them the psychotropics they need. Let's not give them the liquid morphine that comes with a hospice plan. That's not even allowed in the building. So people who can barely swallow, we can get pills and have them crushed and put it. I don't know. I guess I'm really upset with the way the thing with Angie was handled. For some reason, they did not want her in that building because it didn't fit in their plan. It had nothing to do with her performance. It had nothing to do with dishonesty. And she still hasn't received an explanation. And when she was called in to come and collect her things, Sarah and Tara were sitting outside her office, laughing and joking and just living it up, to the point where Angie had to come out and say, could you please shut the fuck up? This is the worst day of my life. And you're out here laughing and joking. This is what goes on there. And I don't know what, everybody's so scared. Oh, Rockhaven's going to close. They're going to sell Rockhaven. At this point, who cares? This is not working. It's not working. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Gail. I have one question for you. What's a Casper number?
A Casper report is, they look at nursing homes to see how many people are on psychotropics or taking, yeah.
Okay,
And
thank you.
they feel that will help their, yeah.
That's all the people you have, Randy?
Yes, that's all.
Is there anybody else that would like to speak?
Can I speak or do I have time? I wasn't on the meeting. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. My name is
Sure.
Jennifer Nevestich. Do I have a minute to speak?
There's 5 minutes.
Okay. So anyway, so I'm going to say that the staff morale could quite possibly be down because of COVID. And I can speak of that as an employee. I work in environmental services. And I work with the residents daily. I'm not for the resignation of Sarah or Josh. I'm not about that. Yeah, I did not want to get this vaccine just yet. I was one of the first ones that was on the list. So I had I would say less than 5 days because of the holidays, because it was given to us on the 23rd. So I didn't really have a choice. I was COVID positive November 2nd. So I wasn't ready to get the vaccine yet. I wanted it to be on my terms. Not that I'm against it, but I would have liked to have waited a little longer. I think that definitely, I know this is a lot. I've been taking notes watching this, but Rockhaven, the communication is horrible there, just saying. It needs to be revamped. I have nothing against Sarah, and I think I haven't had to deal with her a whole lot, but anyways, I do disagree with the layoff of employees because I was one of the first ones to get the vaccine, so I didn't really have a choice to take an exemption. So I just got it because I was afraid I was going to lose my livelihood, my job, whatever. And I didn't feel comfortable with that at all. I didn't feel comfortable with getting the shot either. But so anyways, I got the shot and then along comes the exemption, which I probably could have had one of those, but I didn't take it. But anyway, so yeah, I don't know. And I feel that, you know, Sarah kind of got thrown under the bus. I'll probably get a lot of grief about this tomorrow, but just saying. She got thrown into the nursing home administrator position quickly, right?
No,
I agree with you, Gail, completely. But you know what I mean. I'm like a housekeeper. I'm not on the, you know. I mean, so what then?
what?
You just said no to me, so
Please, let's not have a conversation.
Yes,
I couldn't hear what she said, but okay.
you got the floor right now to talk. It's up to you, Jennifer.
Oh yeah, well, I'm done, I guess. I
Okay.
said what I had to say, but I'm not. I am against getting the vaccine. I'm not against getting the vaccine. I felt that I was forced to get the vaccine. Not really forced, but I felt that I had to get it or not have my job. And my job is important and my health insurance is important. And, you know, I love working for Brock County. I love my residents. I love my people. And so, you know, that's.
Thank you, Jennifer. Anybody
Thank you
else?
Thank you for letting.
Okay. Anyone else wish to speak? Anyone
Mary?
else?
Mary?
Yes.
This is Tracy Ramsey. And actually, I would just like to take a few moments to, first of all, thank you for opening this up to the community as well as the employees. I think strongly that the employees need to have a voice, but the administration really need to take to heart what these folks are saying. Secondly, I don't think this is a vendetta against any one person in general. Leadership, good leaders need to lead by example. And it is very apparent that the current leader is not leading by example. There's many examples of poor leadership. And I really encourage administration or board members or whoever it may be to take a look at the entire picture, to sit back after tonight and really reflect on all that has been said tonight. There's been some very eloquent speakers. There's been a lot of information that has been brought forth that I don't feel that board members were privy to. And I'm saying that in defense of Angela Besaw and Dr. West. That whole scenario was a personal vendetta, and that needs further investigation to understand the foundation of this workplace bullying that is occurring at Rock Haven. So I challenge all administrators, including Josh, all board members, to really sit back and reflect on this and take the appropriate action. I appreciate your time. I appreciate the ability to speak, and thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. John, I'll get back to you in a minute. Is there anybody else that would like to speak?
Madam Chair, after John, may I make a comment?
As long as nobody else wants to speak at that time. John, did you want to say something?
Yes, thank you, Mary. I just have a question. Who are the formal members of this ad hoc committee? And I understand the ad hoc committee is titled The Future of Rock Haven. I could not find it. I know I kind of looked back and I know that was set up, I believe, a couple of years ago, and then has been reconvened. But where can I find the formal members of this committee?
Randy, do you want to, have you got the list?
Randy's muted.
You're muted, Randy.
Okay, so the former members, if you go into the Health Services Committee website, there are past minutes of the ad hoc committee listed separately. The current members are Supervisor Mary Mulwiney as chair, Supervisor Yuri Rashkin, Supervisor Rick Richard, Diane Pillard, Ron Combs, and Supervisor Kevin Levy. And we have one vacant county board supervisor that still needs to be filled.
Okay, thank you, Randy. Thank you, Mary.
Delana? Still can't say your name, but
It's Delana. I just wanted to leave you guys with a just kind of reiterate what my final thought was, and it really does kind of complement what Tracy Ramsey was saying, is that, you know, it's all about education and approach and integrity. You know, as nurses and as healthcare providers, we are entrusted and valued because of our honesty, and because despite errors that we may make, we hold ourselves accountable for those things. And we expect that of other people, especially the leaders that are supposed to be leading us. And that's not happening at Rock Haven. And that's a root cause of a lot of this, is the approach, how staff are treated, how things are implemented, how communication is conveyed. You know, having a million pieces of paper everywhere and coming into a packet of information every single day that they want our signature on is a lot, and it's ineffective leadership. It's ineffective education. It's not giving the staff the proper information. People learn in different ways. They absorb information differently. They need opportunities to be able to ask questions about this information. And you cannot implement things that are medically altering possibly, or, you know, things like this vaccination. You cannot mandate things like that and heavy-handedly try to force and bully people into doing what you want them to do. In order for them to want to do those things, in order for those staff to want to be vaccinated, they deserve the education on the information. And once they had that information, once we give them that opportunity to understand that information, they're going to be receptive to it. They're healthcare providers. They understand their responsibility, and they're accountable. If they have a medical issue, allergy, religious belief, you know, there's going to be exceptions, obviously. But in order to get the maximum amount of compliance out of that, we have to take an approach of education first. You can't make demands without providing people with information. Thank you.
thank you, Delana. One more time, is there anybody else that wants to speak?
I guess I'll say something one more time. I do agree with Delana that, yeah, about the non-FDA approved vaccine. I don't think that was right. I don't think that a lot of people felt comfortable with that, you know, so. And with that, y'all have a good night.
Thank you, Jennifer. One more time, anybody else wish to speak? I do want to answer John's question. He said he didn't know what we were going to do with all this information. We've opened up the lines of communication. Thank you so much for all your honesty, all your comments. We do appreciate them. You've given us a lot of food for thought. You know, I can't tell you what we're going to do with all of it. I mean, I've got a couple pages of notes here. We'll probably be having another meeting, and we may do this again.
Sounds
Have an open-
very good.
Have an open mic and let people speak.
Okay,
We appreciate your input.
thank you. Bye-bye.
A motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Yep.
Is there a second?
Second by Levy.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you again, everybody. We do appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.